Hey, mahal everyone! Welcome back again to the Broadway Saiyan YouTube channel. I am your host 40 and we are back with another video on the global version of Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia. In today's video, we're going to be covering the next batch of Awakenings Part 3, which features Onion Knight, Zidane, Ace, Lightning, Squall, and Hope. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive deep into these characters' awakenings and what they're going to be getting and how they're going to be stacking to the current cast of Global Opera Omnia that already has their awakening. So, Awakenings Part 3 overview. Level cap again increased to 60 for these characters. Increased stats, new passives, more CP, and ability extensions. Tier 4 high shards are back as available rewards. More than likely, we're going to be seeing these crystals available from Heretic Quest. And then the Wave 3, again, like we mentioned, features Onion Knight, Zidane, Ace, Hope, Squall, and Lightning. So the first character we're going to go over is none other than Onion Knight. So, Onion Knight's awakening. The ice-wielding Brave Shaver awakens with enhancements to his Sage and Ninja unique buffs. So his Blizzard combo extend is going to be giving him an additional usage to Blizzard combo. It's going to increase the overall Brave damage by 90%, which is pretty big. At 3 stacks of Sage, this ability will now trigger an HP attack, so it changes it to a Brave plus HP attack as long as you have the Sage stack at 3. And now his Sage buff also grants him magical attack up either by 20, 40, or 60% depending on the stacks, and it also changes his Brave attack command to an Ice elemental attack. His multi-hit extend is going to give him an additional usage to multi-hit. It's also going to be getting a 90% Brave damage increase, which is again pretty huge. At 3 stacks of Ninja, it's also going to trigger an HP attack, so this is nice. And Ninja now also grants Onion Knight 10%, 20%, or 30% physical attack up depending on the stacks. So what is my verdict on Onion Knight? So, he received a decent set of enhancements via his awakening to definitely increase his damage output, especially from that magical attack up and the physical attack up. That's definitely benefiting him, so then that way both of those options are dealing more damage. However, I feel like building up to 3 stacks to reach his maximum potential where he deals that HP attack as well as he gets that full benefit from either the physical or magical attack up, I feel like it still overshadows him by better DPS units such as Vaughn. And I mentioned Vaughn because Onion Knight shares the same crystal as Vaughn, being a red crystal user. So if you're a player that is looking to either build Vaughn or Onion Knight, my recommendation is still go for Vaughn because he doesn't take much to build up as far as getting to his maximum potential, whereas Onion Knight, you still need to build up his stacks. And remember, whenever he uses other ability, he loses that stack to get the other one, so he's switching back and forth. So that's my thoughts on Onion Knight. Now, the next character we're going to talk about is Zidane, a fan favorite. So Zidane is going to be that wily, speedy debuffer, receiving an upgrade to his buffs and debuffs to speed and defense. So Zidane is a type of character where he's a Brave Shaver, he debuffs speed and defense, and also increases his speed and defense. So his Stellar Circle 5 is going to be getting 2 additional usage. It's also going to be getting an overall Brave damage increase by 60%. That speed down debuff he inflicts to targets and that speed up buff that he gives to himself is going to have a probability increase. So it's a higher chance of that happening. And the potency is also going to be increased to both that debuff and buff. And now he's also going to be giving himself a max Brave up of 60%. It's going to be increased to 60%. His free energy extend, which is his straight up HP attack, which is pretty cool because it ignores defense because it doesn't deal any Brave damage, is going to be getting 2 additional usage. That Brave gain that he gives to himself is now going to be based on 25% of his attack stat. The defense down debuff as well as the defense up buff that he gives to himself is going to have a probability for it increase to happening, and then the potency on both of those is going to be increased by 15%. So my verdict on Zidane is his awakening gives him a better chance to buff himself and debuff his targets as far as speed and defense. And that +2 skill usage to both of his abilities gives him a bit more longevity, especially because he's fast and he also has low turn rates for these abilities, meaning that he's probably going to be taking turns a lot. However, his awakening is somewhat subpar, and because he uses blue high shards, at this point you're better off saving those blue high shards that you get from this awakening for a character such as Kate Sith, who is highly anticipated, who uses blue crystals, or even a character like Laguna or Ash. So It's really up to you though. If you like Zidane, if you enjoyed using him in the past during his level 50 era, he's still going to be a lot of fun to use. It's just that I feel if you really want to get the best value out of the game right now, especially for the global version, especially for blue high shards, you want to save for Kate Sith. But that's just my opinion on that and my recommendation. But if you like Zidane, go ahead and build him up because he does get better. Now we're going to take a look at Ace. So Ace was actually delayed for Rem instead with the last awakening, but this time we're actually going to get him awakened. So Ace is going to be that card-wielding magic brave shaver, and he's going to be receiving enhancements that actually influence his card stock with his abilities. So his burst extend is going to be getting a brave damage increase to burst by 20%, and then at mega burst, when his card stock is at 3, he's going to be getting a brave damage increase by 60%. And then mega burst this time only consumes 1 card stock, and then if you use mega burst and it either breaks the target or it's already being used on a broken target, no cards are consumed. So that's pretty good that no card is consumed as long as you fulfill that requirement. And then spiral combo extend is going to be getting a brave damage increase to spiral combo by 70%, and then mega spiral combo is going to be getting a brave damage increase by 100%. So that's those are some pretty huge brave damage increases on both of those. And then mega spiral combo is now only going to consume 1 card stock, and then if you use mega spiral combo to either break the target or it's already being used on a broken target, no card again is consumed, and this time it also grants Ace 40% attack up for 6 turns. So very, very nice upgrades to his awakening. So my verdict is Ace received some very nice buffs from his awakening. It's actually pretty impressive. He's great, but his only downfall really is that a character named Madoyo awakening was so good. We all know Terra is just so good right now in global that I feel like he is a bit overshadowed by her. And also the reason why I mentioned this is Ace shares the same crystals as Terra, which is green. However, if you decide to build him up, he's pretty good. I feel like what they gave him is actually pretty good compared to some of the other awakenings. It's just that he's definitely overshadowed by Terra, but he's going to be a lot of fun to use, and if you decide to build him up, more power to you. Next character we're going to look at is not Sarah. I'm sorry, Sarah fans, but she was replaced by Hope in this Awakening batch. So Hope is going to be that damage mitigating Brave Battery that's going to be receiving some nice upgrades to his supporting abilities. So his Shell Extend is going to get an additional usage. The Brave gain to the party, or the Brave Battery, is now based on 110% of his attack, which is a pretty big percentage. Shell now reduces 60% of received magical damage, and it also changes Hope's HP attack to HP attack plus, which when he uses that, he first raises his all other allies Brave by 50% of HP damage dealt. So whatever HP damage he deals, he grants that much Brave based on the HP damage he deals. And then Protect Extend is going to be getting an additional usage. The Brave gain that he gives to the party now is based on 130% of his attack, which again is a very high percentage. Protect now reduces 60% of received physical damage, and it changes his Brave attack to Brave attack plus, which is just essentially a harder hitting Brave attack. So my verdict on Hope's Awakening is, so he definitely benefited most from that Brave Battery, as now it's based on a very large percentage of his attack stat. However, as a full-on support, white high shards I feel like are best used on Yuna or even Warrior of Light, but especially Yuna because she is currently our I would feel like our best support and Brave Battery. It's arguable if Ishtola is, but Ishtola needs some setup, whereas Yuna is very useful with her Shell, her Cheer and her Esuna. So it's really up to you. Also remember, Yuna does provide HP recovery with Cheer and also Brave Regen. You do need her weapon passive for that, but that's something that Hope also lacks. But at least Hope has that nice Brave Battery that he gives to the party. But as far as white high shards go, I'd still prioritize Yuna or Warrior of Light over Hope. But Hope did get some nice upgrades. All right, next character is going to be Squall. So this is a fan favorite and an anticipated awakening that folks have been waiting for. So everyone's favorite Lion is back and better than ever with Brave Shaping capabilities and AoE HP attacks. So his AoE HP attacks are actually currently, once he gets this, is going to be the best, and I'll explain why. So first of all, his Solid Barrel Extend is going to be giving him an additional usage to Solid Barrel. His Solid Barrel is going to get a Brave damage increase by 20%, and his Solid Barrel Plus is going to be getting a Brave damage increase by 40%. And then if you use Solid Barrel Plus, that last Brave hit that he dishes out is going to now be AoE, so it hits all targets, and this ability now triggers an HP attack if Squall's Brave is greater than 80% of his max Brave after he uses it. So very, very nice. And then his Renzo Kuken extend is going to be giving him an additional usage to Renzo Kuken. It's also going to be increasing Renzo Kuken's Brave damage by 30%, and Renzo Kuken Plus's Brave damage by 60%. And this is what I was saying, why his AoE HP attack now is going to be currently the best. So Renzo Kuken Plus deals 50% HP splash damage to other targets. So unlike a character such as Maria, where the AoE HP damage is divided, this one, Squall, will deal full HP damage to one target, and then if there's other targets, he's going to deal 50% of whatever that HP damage was to the rest of the other targets. So that's pretty good. He's going to definitely be great for cycle farming. If you guys are farming up crystals to level up your characters or to also level up their crystal passives, Squall makes this a lot easier because he's just going to be taking out those mobs in essentially one hit as long as his max Brave is high. And then my verdict on Squall is that his awakening again was highly anticipated, and it solidifies him currently as one of the most useful damage dealing units currently in global with his awakening. So he's going to be pretty useful for a bit once he gets his awakening. And to top it off, unlike Noctis, so the reason why I mentioned Noctis is because he and Squall share the same crystal, which is black. Noctis is very powerful, but he is EX reliant. He definitely relies on having all of his gear, especially that EX. And Squall, even though we know where he's getting his EX suit, he's not reliant on it. It's more of a quality of life for him. It makes him better, but it doesn't necessarily mean that you absolutely need it. And he's still very powerful without it. And compared to Noctis, again, he's beginner friendly, so he's a lot easier to use. He doesn't require much setup or understanding of some of the more advanced mechanics of the game to maximize his full potential. So if you're a new player and you're looking for a powerful character that you want to build up, Squall is definitely a highly recommended one right now, especially once he gets his awakening soon because of what he can do. So that is my verdict on Squall. And the last character we're going to take a look at is another fan favorite. It's going to be Lightning from Final Fantasy 13. So the turn stealing fast Brave Shaver is back with her awakening, granting her more damage and upgrading her unique buff stances. So she has different stances depending on which ability you use. So we're going to take a look at Spark Strike Extend. This is going to be giving her an additional usage to Spark Strike. It's also going to be increasing Spark Strike's Brave damage by 70%, and it's going to be increasing her Ravager stance potency and now granting her 30% max Brave up with that stance. It's also going to be extending Ravager duration to 5 turns, and now her HP attack is changed to HP attack plus, where HP attack plus increases her Brave first by 50% of her attack before she actually deals that HP damage. And then her Flourish of Steel Extend gives her an additional usage to Flourish of Steel. It also increases the Brave damage on this ability by 50%. It also increases Commando Stance's potency and now grants 30% max Brave up and attack up for that stance. It also extends Commando duration to 5 turns, and it changes her Brave attack to Brave attack plus, and Brave attack plus is essentially a stronger Brave attack. So Lightning's verdict. So the fast turn stealing damage dealing waifu is back, and her awakening has further increased her damage output. While her awakening is not as powerful as other damage dealing units such as Squall, I feel like Lightning can hold her own for a bit and is a great option for a fast damage dealing unit. Just be sure she doesn't run out of steam, because that was the whole issue with Lightning. Even back when a lot of people used to use her back during the level 50 era, she tends to run out of steam. So she does get that additional skill usage to both of her abilities, but just keep in mind, because now we have some harder content out there, if you decide to use her, just be sure you're managing your skills well, because she still can run out of steam because she's constantly turn stealing whenever she breaks an enemy with her ability. Alright guys, so that is going to be my video on Awakenings Part 3. Hopefully you guys are excited for these characters to finally get their awakening. I know I sure am, and I really like the way that they're kind of mixing things up. I know, again, some people were disappointed that Sarah wasn't getting her awakening and that she was replaced with Hope, but you know, they are changing things up for Global. They're bringing in some content out of order to make things a little bit more interesting, which I do like. It makes the game a lot more enjoyable. So yeah. Anyways, guys, this is going to be 40 the Broadway Saiyan. Stay tuned for my next video, and mahal, everyone.